that. That's years ago. That's been there for years. And she swallowed that for about 6 months until she found 400 copies of the newspapers in the wardrobe somewhere ready to be wrapped that day. I remember she used to check my stuff. God bless that woman, you know. Every woman behind a man alcoholic is phenomenal. They'll stay till the death. And my wife almost did till the end. She used to check my stuff going out in the morning. We used to do the same routine. You'd come to the door, my briefcase on the floor, my hands like this, and she'd check everywhere. And then she'd check my wallet, and she'd make sure I had nothing, no credit cards, no cash, or I couldn't buy anything. Then she'd walk to the car, and she'd check all the car. Then she'd open the trunk, and she'd check that. And everything got checked, even my socks. There was no alcohol at all allowed to be in that car. I'd get in the car in the morning, and I'd drive to the work. Let me take you back to the previous night. I'd steal £20 out the petty cash that we had in the office. I'd go to the local liquor store and I'd buy a litre bottle of vodka. I'd walk back to my car, drive the car around the corner, open the hood, take the window washer out, stick it on the floor, and then stick the bottle of vodka into the window washer till it was just full, and the cap on, drink the rest, go home. Now let's whiz back to the morning. Goodbye, my wife, I'll see you tonight. We've done all the checks. Into the car, drove round the corner, step outside. I'd blocked the far side of the window washer, and at 6:30 in the morning, people must have thought I was crazy. My wife never found out about that. I was quite chuffed about that one. It really was good. Problem was, it wasn't a laughing matter. There was some serious things in that house. I see today alcoholics and addicts coming to me, and the life from the outside looks great. And you see the decline that they're on. People used to say to me, you know something, Rob? You've got a great life. Your house is amazing. I wish I drove that car. Your 2 children look adorable. Your wife always looks well dressed. You seem to go on holiday 4 or 5 times a year. You've got a villa in Spain. Your life is great. Inside and behind them blinds and curtains was absolute mayhem. Just shortly after I fell down my stairs onto my last born, the 1-year-old, I came home from work a couple of days later, and my wife was in the hall and her bags had been packed. I remember the look in her eye. It was a bit like the look a few months before when my brother found me unconscious in my London home and I'd gone missing for a few weeks, and they had to break down the door with the police. I remember coming round and being surrounded by empty vodka bottles and just looking up in this blur and looking at my brother's eyes, who always respected me and looked up to me. I was always the big brother who went round and says, you've got a problem with this little skinny guy here because you've got a problem with him. You've got a problem with me. I was that brother that he loved and cherished and looked up to. And I saw his eyes looking down at me thinking, what the hell has gone on here? And I could see him destroyed inside. It's the same look in my wife's eyes that night. She says, Rob, I love you to bits, but I can't do this anymore. She got her stuff and my 2 little babies, and she walked out. As soon as she walked out, I got on the phone to my attorney. I said, we spend a lot of money with you. You have 24 hours to get my kids back here, period. Not going to argue with you. There's 6 figures in cash here. You don't do it in 24 hours, we no longer do business. Within 24 hours, my children were brought back to me. I celebrated with a drink because you would, wouldn't you? I mean, you've got to celebrate something. So I got the bottles out and I drank again. 2 days later, I remember being woke up from the door. Bang, bang, bang on the door. I vaguely came round. I saw my 2 little babies. No diapers been changed for 2 days. They'd not been fed for 2 days. They'd not had any water or milk for 2 days. They were crying and screaming. I just about got myself to the door. When I opened the door, my wife was there with the police, the local authorities, a social worker, and a security guard. And as soon as he opened the door, they served me with papers. I saw the papers. It said Robert Kelly on it. It had something about custody, unfit father, and then my daughter's names. I knew what it was, guys. You've got to be kidding me. It's not come to this, surely. I was getting emotional when I talk about this, and I'm glad, because the day they took my kids away, I remember what they said to me. I think the eldest one was 3. She says, Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. And then further down the path, she turned around and said, Daddy, Daddy, Please get better. Then she says, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. I just couldn't do it. I closed the door, went back to the kitchen. I got another drink because I needed one. And from there, my life went down. I thought that the feeling that I had when they took my girls off me was the worst feeling in the world. My heart had been torn out, literally. It got worse than that, guys. Within 6 or 7 months of that happening, I'd lost my house and my holiday home. I'd lost the Porsche and the Rolls Royce and the Bentley. The nanny'd gone and the chauffeur had gone. I lost my businesses. I lost my wife. And the most two important things in the world, I lost my 2 girls. I remember thinking, where's it all gone wrong? Still drinking, still in denial. Went to my parents. After a couple of days, they threw me out. Went to my best friends. After a couple of days, he threw me out. Went to colleagues, then associates, then friends of colleagues. Anywhere I could stay towards the end, I want to get a sofa. There's only so many times you can urinate on somebody's sofa before they ask you to leave, unfortunately. And that's what I did. I always thought I perspired from the waist downwards. I didn't. My life went from there onto the streets. Onto the streets, where I was raped and beaten, and for the first time, I felt a punch in my face. You've got to be kidding me. I was too drunk to react. Everything had gone. Everything had gone. I was roaming the streets. I'd gone from doing multi-million-dollar deals to thinking to myself, if I ask 10 people for 10 cents, I can get one of them strong cans of beer because I'm starting to shake now. What sort of deal is that? I remember walking into a shop once and there were security guards on. Walking in, grabbing 2 bottles of vodka off the side. One for me and one for the security guard's face if he dare stop me on the way out. That's not sane thinking. It was for me then. Not like this, by the way, but like this, to do as much damage as I can. So that when he hit the floor and there was so much blood around him, nobody would worry about my little baby here. We could walk out and we could be all comfortable. As I found another local bus station where I could crash for the night. I woke up one morning and somebody had stole my sneakers. Can you believe that? The things they'd steal in Manchester in the United Kingdom. I woke up, I had no sneakers on. I spent 4 hours walking around looking for another drunk. In the same condition that I used to be in. Unconscious. And I used to walk past and go, Adidas, I don't know about that. Let's have a look somewhere. Oh, Puma, I like Puma. And finally I found a drunk that had passed out with a nice pair of Nike on. I thought, I like them. They look really good and new. He wasn't a drunk, really. He'd just passed out somewhere for too much from the night before, but I stole his Nike training shoes. The only problem was they were 2 sizes or 3 sizes too small for me. So for the next 3 months, I had to walk around like this around Manchester because I couldn't put my heels down. But they look real cool, you know. The things that stick in my mind. I was in a courthouse once and I saw a lady mopping the floor. And she used to work for me. And I walked up to her and I said, hey, Jill, how you doing? And she looked up and I said, it's Rob Kelly. She went, and she started crying. I thought, oh, I must have caught her at a bad time. I said, are you okay? She says, what's happened, Rob? I said, I don't know, what's happened? What have I missed? She said, what's happened with you? And I walked into the restroom and I looked into the mirror. And I'm sure it was one of the funny mirrors because what I saw back was a down and out drunk. I didn't see Rob Kelly. That shocked me, but it didn't stop me drinking. The same look in the brother's eyes again, coming back off that mirror. It was terrible. This went on for months and months and months in Manchester. I went to meeting after meeting after meeting. I walked into an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting when I was 17. It did me no good. What I heard was keep coming back and just don't pick up a drink, Rob. I'd be okay. Didn't work for me. Well, let's try 90 meters in 90 days, Rob. Why don't you do that? And do what? No, no, just do that, nothing else. It didn't last 90 days. I know the reason I didn't last 90 days today is because I'm the real alcoholic it talks about in the book, where a week or a month after the last drink, I'm going to forget how bad it was. My mind's going to play tricks. It's going to be different this time. It'll be okay this time. You've changed. Just try drinking wine instead of liquor. That's what my mind will tell me. I haven't got time to wait. This went on for months and months. 10-year period I was going in and out. Then months and months when I was homeless, I was going in and out. One morning, I'd had enough, guys. I cut my own wrist. I wanted to die. Somebody found me, took me to a local hospital, and I'd survived again. It was days after that I was roaming the streets at the early hours of the morning. I was dying for a drink. I was trembling. I was shaking. I was getting to that point where I was perspiring really badly. And I was thinking of hurting somebody to get some money. And suddenly I dropped down on my hands and knees. And I'd heard all this talk about a higher power. But I was an atheist. I didn't want to know about stuff like that. I got down on my hands and knees and I cried like a baby. This once powerful man, financially, physically, mentally, was sobbing like a baby. I wasn't sobbing because I'd lost my wife. I wasn't sobbing because I lost my millions of dollars. I wasn't even sobbing because I'd lost my children. The reason why I was sobbing is for the first time in my life, I realized I could not stop drinking. That scared me. That scared me real bad. A guy walked around the corner 2 minutes later. I remember looking up and going, if there's a higher power up there, I can't do this on my own. I've had enough. The guy walked around the corner and he took me home that night. He explained he was from a local church and he wanted to help. The only stipulation being, when I stayed at his house and bathed and got new clothes, I had to go to another meeting that night. And for that, I almost hated that guy. You see, I'd been to these meetings. I've listened to your problem. I know what the problem is. Has anybody got the answer, guys? Oh, no, not really. Just keep coming back. And do what? Well, nothing. Just keep coming back. Don't worry about anything. I'd been to them meetings, but I had to go if I wanted a dry bed tonight, and I wanted a dry bed tonight. So off we went to another self-help group meeting, and it started with the same old stuff again. My name's Johnny, blah, 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 bottle of vodka, blah, blah, blah. Next, my name's Peter, 2 bottles of vodka, blah, 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 blah. War stories. I think halfway round, someone decided to tell the group that when they got home the night before, her husband spilt some of his wine on the floor. And when she got home that night, the cat had drank the wine. So can we discuss tonight if my cat's an alcoholic or not? What does the group think? I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I doing here? Then a guy shared from the back of the room. A little white-haired man guy with a little beard. Very frail man. He said, my name's John and I'm a recovered alcoholic. And I thought, what did he just say then? What did he just say? And I nudged the guy next to me and said, what did he just say? He said he was a recovered alcoholic. As soon as the meeting was over, I went straight over. I was intrigued. This guy had talked from this book called Alcoholics Anonymous. This guy had talked about the first 164 pages. This guy had opened this book on the first page of the title page and explained how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. That's what he did. And he opened the book again and he was looking at stuff like page 17 when it says we've solved the drink problem. What? What did he just say? I couldn't wait to get over to see this guy. Can you help me? Yes, I can. Come round to my apartment. There it is. And what we're going to do, Rob, if you're really serious. I said, yeah, I'm serious. He said, no, let me explain. If you're really serious, we're going to study the book. And we're going to look for certain things in that book that's going to save your life. If You're the real alcoholic, Rob. You see, there's a difference here, Rob.